Hello guys, SephGamesTV here, and I would like to show you now in this video the town and crafting stations. Okay, so this is my town. It's called Trading Post, and it's located just a bit southeast of the starting zone from the north. Okay, and right below this hotspot, Temple of Hardwood. Okay, so we have a fully built town here. So this, of course, is the town hall, trade post. This is the tailor shop. I'm going to start by this one. The tailor shop is interesting because you build a tailor shop and that will be available for all your citizens to use. But specifically for the tailor shop always will allow other players to use your stations as well. And that's specific for the tailor shop though. So they can use the tailor bench to craft a hide, leather, or cloth armor. Okay, and that's specific to the tailor shop. Same goes for converting the materials. So you get some silk from spiders, you can make silk cloth here. So that's useful because every character, like if someone starts a mage and has to use light armor and then have to use cloth, they do not have to be part of a town to do so. They can just collect materials, go to any town, go to the tailor shop and convert their silk into cloth and then craft their armor that way. Okay, so this is it for that. And on our tailor shop, we have a few chests here. So our citizens do is they go venture out, they go grind monsters, gold, and resources, then bring it back to town, and then they store it here. So this is all hide, processed hide that we have, and this is the leather process that we have. So I have a bunch of leather here, a bunch of mountain troll leather, a bunch of forest troll leather, and ghoul leather as well. Some pieces of equipment that other citizens have crafted and put in here for others to use as well, or maybe they're using on their builds, and so forth. And here you also have the tanning tubes. Tanning tubes are used to convert the raw hide into leather. So you're gonna put like sea troll skin here, and then it will become leather, like you see on this one, right? So you're gonna have like you have forest troll leather here. Before becoming a leather, it was just forest troll hide. So different than regular leather or animal leather that you have to process once. The troll hide, it's not processed before being put into the tanning tube. Same goes for uh, the ghoul skin. But for the animal leather or animal hide, better saying, you have to use the spike here. That's just another pre-processing part of the work that you process that hide into processed animal or warg or direwolf hide, and then you can then process that one into leather as well. The difference between using leather, hide, and something more specific when it comes to leather armor is that there's a particular difference between them. If I look here, I have some leather armor, and this leather armor is made out of leather from mountain troll. It's a mountain troll leather piece. If you look at the type of the equipment, it's a light armor. And this is really important to know because there are some skills that you're gonna learn that are specifically tied into which kind of weapons and armor you are wearing. For instance, you cannot be a mage using heavy armor. You need to use only light armor. When it comes to weapons, there's such limitation as well, but it works a bit different. Some skills will allow you to use them with any weapon, or they will allow you to use them as unarmed. Some will just be usable by having your complete set of equipment as a light or medium, for instance. So there are skills tied into the armor and the weapons. Okay, so that's it for the tailor shop. And then you have the trade post. The trade post is a new feature released on this fall test, and all it is a way to stockpile resources that you can trade between towns. So I post all the materials here. So since we have a mine, so I put a lot of iron here. And then I set a price for how much I want for each ore of iron ore and how much I want to sell, and then I select sell or I select buy. So people going by will see that and say, oh, this guy is buying this or that material, so we're gonna sell to them. They'll go back to their town, load their wagon, drive it here, and gonna sell to the trading post. The good thing is the process is totally automatic, automatically done through this table. So they will have a wagon full of resources. They will open up the trading post and they will sell the resources to my town, and my trading post will pay them automatically. So they can go back to their town, or even better, look for something they want to buy from our town, load their wagon again, and go back to their town with resources they needed. This is really a feature that's important and is key for the progression of the entire game and entire community of this game. Okay, so this is a really amazing addition. Another thing about the trading post is that if you are a governor or a vice governor of a town, you can use these buttons here, minus and plus, to deposit or withdraw a certain amount of items as long as you are connected to or using a wagon. So I'm gonna get a wagon here. One of these wagons here, if I look at the inventory, it's empty. So I'm gonna get a wagon here. I'm gonna go to the trading post. I'm a vice governor of the town, so I'm gonna withdraw 30 iron ore. That's it. Now, if I look at my wagon, it's full of iron ore. I could just go to another town and sell it to them, get the gold, and buy something from them from their trading post. So I'm gonna start it back because I don't want to sell my iron right now. And this is the same thing. I could go to the mine, get the iron, go back here, and then store the iron on my trade post. In that way, other people in the town can actually withdraw that amount and process it at the blacksmith. So we're gonna go to our blacksmith now. I'm gonna show you how it works. Okay, so this is the blacksmith building. Here, you're basically gonna craft everything that has to do with metal, including processing the metal. You see some furnaces here, or smelters, right? This is the basic one. It will have spaces for the fuel, could be charcoal or coal, resources that can be obtainable by towns, and I'll explain that in a bit. And then here you have the ores. You have a space for 5 ores. Processing metals or ore is basically putting like 4 pieces of fuel here, like 4 charcoal and 5 ores of tin, for instance. Then you will get an ingot. And this is the basic smelter. So I can only do one metal or one processing at a time. This other one here, on the other hand, is an advanced one. On this one, I use the same amount of fuel, but I have 2 slots. And this is the result of the processing. So you see that I got a steel bar here or a steel ingot. So I got that and I'm gonna store it here. Gonna get the other one. Store in there. What is the beauty about these advanced ones is that you're gonna process the twice of the amount of material that the basic one will process, but you're gonna only use half of the fuel needed, which means that in order to process 2 ingots, I will need on the basic one 4 pieces of coal and 5 pieces of ore. Here I can put 10 pieces of ore with only 4 pieces of coal, getting 2 bars instead. So I will use a lot less fuel doing so. So I'm gonna take all these bars off here. I'm gonna store them. I'm gonna show you what I can do with them. Okay, so this is okay. I'm gonna collect the last ones later. So this is the forge, and this is an advanced forge as well. There are 2 types of forges. There's the basic one. The basic one will only require like basic material to be crafted in your town, and the advanced one will require materials that you actually have to build the basic one and then process into metal components and metal sheet that'll be then used to make the advanced one. Okay, so a good tip is use something like cheaper, like tin and charcoal to get, or maybe copper to process your metal sheet and metal components. You need 4 of each to make an advanced forge. So you're gonna always build a blacksmith station or blacksmith building and then have the basic tools there first. Get all the resources you need for the at least one advanced forge and one advanced smeltery. And after that, the production will be increasingly higher and higher and higher, get things faster. Okay? And here you can do all the weapons in the game, so hand axe, mace, and then here you can change the material you want to craft it from. So I have steel there, so I can select steel. It says that I have 5 stored up. This will use 2 to craft a mace, but it can goes up to, let's say, the armor that will not only need 5 ingots, but also 3 leather. So this is how the crafting goes. You go through processing the material. You're going to store the material in the specific storage place on that building. In this case, in blacksmithing, I'm going to use the ingot storage. The good important thing about it is that every citizen will have access to these smelters here. So they can make use of the smelters as they want. There's no permissions yet in the game that will say, oh, this or that player can actually use the smelter or take materials out of the smelter or even craft something that was processed by other citizen in your town. And this is really interesting because it creates a relationship between the players. So all the players living in a town should be first your friends or people you trust that will not be there just to leech your resources or even get your processed materials that you spend hours upon hours obtaining, maybe buying gold to process at these smelters and such. So you want to have people that are trustworthy in your town. You don't want everyone to be in your town. You want people that you can trust because they will have access to everything in your town. Not only the crafting stations, but everything that you processed through the crafting stations. All right? So that's it for the blacksmith. Now let's go to the other buildings. So I talked about the tailor shop, trade post, blacksmith, and here's the tavern. Every single town must have a tavern so people can rest, cook their food, and assign their talents and abilities. Now this is the wood shop. On the wood shop, they'll start making weapons and some shields, staves for mages and such. The woodworking table is really interesting because there's some pieces of weapons or equipment that will require parts to be made. So let's say mage staff, you can make them with any kind of wood. And this wood here, you don't see any wagons here and you are not carrying wood because you can't. What you do, you're going to store wood at the woodshed. You have another storage for this building here. And you see that I have spruce and I have eel wood stored up here, which means that I can craft anything inside using these two log, a specific kind of wood. So I'm gonna mage staff, so I know that I have eel, and then I can craft that using that. Same goes for the other ones. And then you also have the fletching table, where I basically craft, bows, short bow, long bow, and your ammunition. Same thing, every time you hover over a material, it will let you know which statuses you're going to be getting out of that. So if you are a ranged or a bow user, you want to get a better bow, not only the primitive one, you're going to need this building here. So if you hover over the wood here, the log type, you're going to see what status or bonuses it will give it to you if you make your bow out of this type of wood. So out of you get accuracy, weapon damage, and hits on comparable creatures. The spruce will give you spell damage. Not much of a help for a range. Oak wood will do critical damage plus 20%, and that will be base attributes of that weapon, right? Now, the other building you have is really an important one. This is the Magecraft building. What it has is a table that you can craft the staff for your mages, and they have different statuses as well. And look at that, it requires a mage shaft that you make in the wood shop. So things are starting to interconnect, to just relate to other places, other buildings in the game. So as you build your town, you want to make sure to have all the buildings to supply each other with different pieces of or components in order to craft your gear. Also, you're going to need a flawless diamond for the mage staff, or a flawless ruby for the fire staff. Ice staff takes flawless sapphire, and shock staff takes flawless topaz. Okay. And then also here you have the enchanting table. The enchanting table is interesting because you can add additional effects to your gear. So let's say this shield here. If I put the shield there, these are the bonuses that I can obtain combining different resources. These resources are called reagents, but I'm going to be talking about enchanting later on another video, okay? So this is really important for a town to have a mage shop. If I press B here, I can see all the buildings I can have. So I can have social, which has the tavern. I have the woodworking, which has the carpenter, or the wood shop, as I mentioned earlier. And then you have the tailor shop. You have the magic shop, which is this one that we're at right now. And you have the blacksmith. These are all the buildings you can have. And if you have a guild, you can also build a guild hall. The difference between the sitting with and without a guild hall is that technically you could be a guild, have your group tied up as a guild and storing items that you're gonna use exclusively for your guild, but have citizens that are not part of your guild. Maybe they are tryouts, maybe they're just joining to help you out, they're more casual, they will not be playing with you, they don't have time for that, or just new players that you're trying to teach how the game works for them to join you later. So then you can, in that way, use the storage of the guild uh, the guild building or the guild hall to just have specific chests there that citizens will not be allowed to have access to, but only your guildmates will, because there's an option that you can set a chest to be accessible by whatever you want, so by everyone or by only friends or guildmates or citizens, whatever it is. Okay, so these are all the buildings in the town that you actually need to have to craft the best equipment. One thing that I would suggest if you are thinking on building a new town is, of course, you want to go with the blacksmith, But the blacksmith will require you to have the resources. We require you to have the blacksmith. We use minerals, so you're gonna need iron to make steel and coal to actually smelt the iron into steel. But if you build the woodwork or the woodworking building or the wood shop, all you need is wood, trees, that is available everywhere. And this is good because you can make shields, better shields for mages, which is the buckler, and the header shield, which is or the heater shield, which is the shield for your melee DPS or tanks. And this is a really good shield as well. And the statuses that you get will depend on which kind of wood you're gonna be using. Also, you can have a quarterstaff for your mages and a wooden club for your tank. Particular for this wooden club, it's really interesting. I have one for myself. This one has a really fast attack speed, has better damage because of it hits faster. It's the same damage as the base mace you build on the primitive list of weapons, but these are like twice as fast. Okay, and it comes with plus 18% damage and hits non-corporeal beasts as well, which is bugged right now, but the devs are looking into it. But it's a better weapon. Okay, if you are a tank, you are looking for, maybe you're gonna be farming skeletons. This is a really like heavy hitting weapon for when you're farming skeletons, for instance, because it does a lot more damage, and skeletons take more damage from crush weapons, which you use your wooden club for. So to define like a good path of building your town, and I always will suggest you, since I went through this whole ordeal of building a town, it was really fun, but it was really intensive work put into it. I would suggest first, of course, build your town hall, because you want to have players being able to apply to your town if you know and get more people to help you out. Also, you're gonna have to have this town hall set up to keep track of certain stuff, like you have to keep track of your upkeep, which is the tax you pay to the server every day to keep the town. Otherwise, if you don't pay it, you're gonna lose the town and you're back to ruins. So you're gonna lose all your progress on building that town. You can set taxes for the plots that you can assign for players to buy from you, that they will be taxed on too, uh, and the gold coming from here will then be going through to the treasury of the town and can be used to pay your upkeep. The upkeep is a tax that you pay every day and requires a certain amount of resources according to the ranking you are. Okay, so you can check your rankings as well and what you're gonna need next, so you can plan ahead. So every time, like for now I'm ranked 3, I have to pay 250 gold, which is really low, 5 sacks of protein, which is meat sacks, and no sacks of cereal. But I'm gonna have to pay for the next one 6 sacks of meat and 8 sacks of cereals, which I'm working on right now. Also, you can see here in the taxes, sorry, the upkeep, what you have stored. So we can only add protein sacks and cereal sacks. I don't have any cereal here, but this is the first building that you should build. The second one that you should be building right away is actually this one. Okay, the packing station. The packing station allows you to actually make the packs that you need for the upkeep. This is the second one you should be building. Okay, really easy. Put it down, finish building. Doesn't take many resources at all. The third building I would suggest is the trading post. It's really important to let people know what you're looking for, what you want to buy, and what you can sell. And people will be going through your town, since every single town is built on a road, next to a road. So mine has it's in the path for a lot of towns up north and south. So a lot of people go through here so they can check the trading post and see what they can buy or they can sell to me. Maybe they find something interesting, they'll get in contact with me and try to negotiate better pricing and stuff like that. So make sure to build your trading post and put it really next to the road. Don't hide it behind buildings and such. Put it in an open area where people can actually see it, and it'll be from easy access to you that will manage the trading post, and also from as an easy access for every people that will be passing through. Okay. Now, the other building that's completely optional but can be, interesting to build is the bank. I personally I don't use the bank. I just rather use the citizen chests or the chests inside the town because we have only trustworthy people in the town and everybody helps and nobody's here to steal anything from the town. But if you want to have personal stuff stored up, you can have the bank. Bank is just overrated in my opinion right now. It doesn't have such like importance for a town other than for other people that are passing by. Maybe store something there for them to pick up later, so they can have something. They were farming monsters close to your town or something like that. So I found that it was really interesting to use the bank in other towns, like a town close to this place here at the Whispering Woods, because I grind here a lot and I farm here a lot, end up building a house there to store my items. But until that point, I was using this town called Cinder as my storage. So I was storing everything on their bank there. So it was really useful for me, even if I was not even a citizen of them. Next, of course, you want to build a tavern. And that's for, logical purposes. You want to be able to rest here, you want to be able to assign your talent points and learn your skills, but most and foremost to recover your energy. You don't want to be there out there building your town and having to collect 10 stones every time to make a campfire to rest. You want to make a tavern made as soon as possible. Also, I suggest to put a chest next to it so your citizens can store food there. And this food, cooked food here, can then be used to pay your upkeep. Okay. After that, build a wood shop. As I explained before, what a wood shop does, it's really, really interesting. It's the first upgrade you can give to your citizens and to yourself on weapons and a shield. After, of course, the tailor shop, and for last but not least, the magic shop. Magic shop is where you do all your enchanting, and then make sure to have a lot of chests made so people can store the reagents on these chests for you to enchant your gear. Okay, so it's important to have all these buildings built. At the end of the day, you're gonna have them all anyway, but if you have to prioritize due to the lack of resources or timing to actually craft them or make them or gather stone or wood, try to do in that order. That will be a lot more helpful. I've noticed that I tried to build a town before I built this one, and we haven't followed that order, and it was kind of messy. We end up not having the trade post at the beginning. That made things a lot more difficult. We didn't have the woodwork or the wood shop made at the beginning, so we had to rush it up later. We end up having two tailor shops with way too many tuning tubes, and you don't actually want that. You don't need that. This is the result of 3 days of converting leather into hides into leather. You see here all this, and now you're gonna see here all this. This is all ready to go, and all the tuning tubes are filled, and it's 16 hours to convert every single piece of hide into or raw hide into leather. But maybe the first day will be the rough one. On the second day, you're gonna get it going, and you're gonna have more resources that you can actually go through. unless you are building a big town with lots and lots of players, then of course you might want to have multiple buildings of a single type of building, like maybe having two tailor shops, maybe having two blacksmith shops. But there are some shops that will be limited by the amount of resources you can obtain. The tailor shop is easy because you can just go up there and collect hides. But the blacksmith, you actually need the ore and you need charcoal. So you're gonna need to go through a lot of trading between towns and trading your resources with others, or using your gold to buy the resources from other towns who are selling these resources. And that can be really, really a grind. And I say that in a good way, but I I've done the calculations, and to be honest with you, in my opinion, for the blacksmith, the optimal setup you can have at the beginning is have four advanced smeltery machines and just the advanced forge inside. You're gonna definitely have to build the basic forge because that'll be necessary to build the components. But after you got the components for maybe your first or second advanced smeltery, you should build the next forge. And this is what you do. So you go to city and then you go to metalworking. You can actually see which materials you want for your forge or advanced forge by doing this way. So you go inside, go place, and you're gonna rotate, and it'll be able to position like here or so. I have the chest in the way, so if I move the chest somewhere else, so let's say that I move the chest over. Can I move it over there? Just gonna move it somewhere that'll not be in the way. Then I actually can have a regular forge there and have another advanced here. So I can keep using my regular forge while I have my advanced one being built. Once I finish my advanced one, I delete the basic one, and then I move that one over there and keep only the advanced one. So you can actually have one made and one in progress to be built just fine, as long as not like me, I have this chest under my way because I did that before. Okay. Same goes for this smeltery. You want to make all six basic ones first. Takes only stone for that, and preferably you want to use charcoal and tin at the beginning to smelt the tin and make the components and the metal sheets you need. So you're gonna need 5 metal sheets and 10 metal components for each advanced smeltery, which means that having 6, you're gonna go through a few rotations of 4 hours to obtain them. But you definitely don't wanna spend steel on it, because to smelt steel or smelt iron ore, you're gonna need coal instead of charcoal, which is expensive. If you don't have a coal mine, then I would definitely suggest you to use charcoal instead, because you just use wood on the charcoal piles to obtain charcoal. And it's a lot cheaper to buy tin and maybe copper to make those, a lot cheaper, and you can have all of them going without any hassle of running out of fuel. After you get 3 advanced ones, you're gonna start using only coal, or maybe 2 advanced ones, you're gonna use coal and process the iron ore into steel, and use the basic ones for keeping working on the components, or use your advanced to just rush up the production and finish up the components for the other the other 2 of there. But if you were planning on having 6 advanced ones, bear in mind that every 4-hour rotations, that's the time that takes for the smeltery to go through the process of smelting the ore, you're gonna be using 10 ore per smelter, advanced smelter. So that'll be 60 ore or 2 carts worth of ore every 4 hours. Also bear in mind that a mine, if you have a mine connected to your town, will provide you with maybe 2.5 carts of iron or material that you can get from there every 6 hours. So you have a gap of 2 hours thinking on like the most you can process or obtain, and that gap will running through your materials really quick, and you end up having to trade or buy the materials for keep it going. If you really want to process as many materials you can, then you're gonna have to have people farming gold for you, buying, doing trading. It's basically impossible to have one person taking care of everything in a town, including not only feeding up and loading out of the smelters all the ingots you got or ore to feeding up in the coal and stuff, do the trading to obtain the coal if you don't have a coal mine, and building everything, taking out of leather, crafting gear for your characters, or taking in account the materials you need to craft the advanced smelters, and doing your mine. There's a lot of stuff. Maybe a person having like 24/7 time to play the game will be able to do it, but it'll be really tiring, and the person will be burned out really quickly. So you want to have more people taking care of a town if possible. One person taking care of town will have to take a slower pace in doing so to use these crafting stations. And if you have a group of people that are being focused on doing PvP and getting ready to know what's going on in the future, what will be best for using, maybe working on their builds, making enchantments for their weapons and armor and stuff, and you want to obtain armor and weapons as soon as possible, maybe yes, at the beginning it'll be interesting to make 6 advanced smelters, but bear in mind that every single advanced smelter will require 15 ingots. It could be from any material, but it's 15 ingots, 10 metal components, and 5 metal sheets. So it's a whole lot. You have to choose in between upgrading your smelters or crafting for gear. But you definitely want to get rid of the basic smelters as soon as possible to not use too much coal if you don't own a coal mine. And if you do own a coal mine and you do not have a second city or someone that can provide you with the iron or the other ore you're gonna need, you will definitely have or run into the same problem. But as soon as you have 2, 3, 4 advanced smelters, you're gonna self-sustain with your own mine. Having anything past 4 smelters at this point in time in the game for the fall testing at November 16th, 2020, you will run out of materials if you do everything on cooldown, because your mine will not be able to feed into your pile of materials fast enough for your smelters to go through that material. You end up having no materials left to process because your mine is not ready yet to be harvested. Okay, so that's it for this video. I think that was really explanatory, and you guys had a really good idea of how the crafting stations work in a town and what you can do and what you can actually make in a town, and why should you or you maybe be looking into joining a city to have access to these crafting stations and work on gear. But one final thought about cities on Fracture: you cannot be going to a city having a solo play mindset. You have to be a group play mindset, which means that everybody has to think on the entirety of the group. Everybody has to have this mindset of playing as a group for the benefit of the group, and make sure that every person that you bring to your town, your city, will be willing to help, and they will be able to help you and will not be there just to leech on the resources you have. Or maybe sometimes you have people that will try to join your city just to craft their weapons, and they will leave the city. They just want to try it out and see how it goes. That's for an alpha test. It's really common and it's okay, but it will not be okay when the game launches. So make sure that you're gonna be having only trustworthy people that can help you out and can be part of your town. That's really important for progression, even more because you want to gear up everyone as soon as possible for at least up to the point that they release the siege features where other cities can battle to try to conquer other cities and then defeat the governor and take the city for themselves. Okay. Okay, so now that's it. I think that was really a good video to, and I talked you through a lot of stuff. Leave your comments uh, below, right below the description, and I see you guys on next one. Thank you guys.